Hi there. When I first was looking to buy my electric car, one of the things that really confused me was all the different versions and methods of public charging. There seems to be so many different companies, so many different charge points, so many different ways of doing it. It was all very, very confusing. And it was only in the fullness of time that I started to understand it and started to realise that actually quite a lot of them are the same company, whether they're rebranded or just called something different, and a lot of them work in very much the same way. So what I wanted to do is just talk through a couple of the companies that I use, how they work, and to give you an idea of how simple it is to charge up at the public chargers. Now, there's two main different ways of charging, as in how you access the chargers. One is by an RFID card, and the other is using your mobile phone app. Now, they've both got their pros and cons. Kind of universally speaking, I think most people prefer an RFID card because it's less temperamental and it just seems to work. Obviously, if you use your mobile phone app, you're relying on the network signal, you're relying on it talking with the unit. There's more to go wrong with it. Not to say it doesn't work, because most of the time it does and it is faultless, but there's always that concern, and you can guarantee the one time that you need it will be the time when it's the middle of the night, there's nobody on the end of the helpline, and you can't get your phone to connect. So universally speaking, I think most people prefer the RFID cards. A lot of companies offer both, some only one or the other. The first company I wanted to talk about is Ecotricity. They have been one of the sort of forebearers, if you like, of rolling out chargers across the UK. When they first started rolling them out, they were offering charging for free, which was brilliant, and it really helped with the uptake of people buying electric cars. Certainly it was one of the main reasons I bought it, because I could see that if I went on a slightly longer journey, for the sake of a 30-minute stop, I could fill my car up with electricity and carry on my journey, and it would cost me nothing, and it worked really, really well. But obviously we all knew that couldn't go on forever, and approximately 12 months ago they stopped giving out free electricity, and you had to pay for it. Now, there was various methods. You could be an Ecotricity customer and get I think it was 52 free charges a year, or you could be a pay-as-you-go customer, in which case it cost a flat rate of £6, and I think ultimately they ended up a flat rate of £6 for up to 40 minutes of charging. So it didn't matter how much electricity you drew, that was what you paid. They've just released an email this week to say they're updating that again, and now they're going to charge a flat rate or a connection fee of £3, and then 17p per kilowatt hour after that. So to give you an idea, my Leaf, if I plug it in and get 15 kilowatt hours, that is, well, certainly in the new Leaf, the 30 kilowatt hour, that's half your battery. With the connection fee, that would cost me £5.55, so that gives you a bit of an idea of cost on that. The way they work is they run off their mobile phone app. I think I'm right in saying that doesn't work on the Windows platform, but it certainly does on Android and iOS. And it's quite straightforward in that when you arrive at the pump, you scan the QR code and you charge from there, obviously once you've set up your account with them. And it should lead you through the process, and it's quite straightforward. So that's Ecotricity. The other company I wanted to talk to you about is Polar, and this is the one that I use the most. Now, Polar offer two levels of service. One is Polar Instant, and that runs off their app, and for that one you have no account, so there's no subscription, but you do pay a connection fee, which I think is £1.30 every time you plug in, and then you pay the charge for whatever the price of that charger is. Now, Polar, according to their website, have I think it's 5,000 chargers nationwide. They work alongside companies like Charge Your Car, so you can access their chargers, and having plugged in, you just pay the fee of whatever that charger is. The other service that Polar offer is the Polar Plus account. Now, I've got the Polar Plus account, and I've had it for 6 months. When I signed up, you had 6 months free service on it. I think it's just changed, or it is now 3 months free, but certainly that's long enough to give you an idea of whether you're going to use it and whether it will be of any benefit to you over and above a Polar Instant account. Now the fee for it is £7.35 a month, and for that you get access to their 5,000 chargers, which, as I said before, include the likes of Charge Your Car. There's various levels of chargers, from very slow up to rapid chargers, and again, when you plug in, you just pay the cost of that local charger. So there's no admin or connection fee. You just pay your monthly subscription, and then you pay whatever the cost of that charger is. So again, it's anything from free to 9p per kilowatt hour plus the VAT, up to your £4 if you go over an hour, £12. Most of these chargers are in car parks, or a lot of them are, and certainly the ones that I use, a lot of them, if you plug in, then you get free parking while you're there. So, you know, generally speaking, up to about an hour, you certainly wouldn't want to leave it there any longer, but they're quite often in the middle of busy towns, and free parking is really beneficial. So it does have its benefits from that point of view. 9p plus VAT per kilowatt hour, certainly for me and for most people, that's cheaper than your home electric. So only marginally, but it does have some benefits there. And they also offer what they call an experience scheme. It's loyalty points. So every time you charge up, you get 10 loyalty points. You add those loyalty points up, and when you have a certain amount, you can borrow a car from Polar for a week. Now those cars are anything from a Renault Twizy, which costs you 10 points, up to a BMW i8, that's 100 points. Now, from what I hear, you probably won't get the i8 for 100 points, because you effectively go into a ballot, and then they look at who's applied for it, how many cars are available, and those that have got the most points will get the car first. So I've heard of people getting it with 130 points, but I've also heard that people have had to use, or had to wait until they get to over 300 points before they've been able to get it. So it's kind of the luck of the draw with that. But I think it's a nice little loyalty benefit. I wouldn't rely on it just for my subscription, but if it works for you, then it's quite a nice scheme. You could probably get to drive a car that, certainly for the likes of me, I'd never get to drive anywhere else. So that's quite nice. The actual process then of when you arrive at one of these rapid chargers is quite straightforward. So for example, the rapid charger that I use quite regularly with my Polar card, it's as simple as tapping your RFID card on the reader on the front of the machine, selecting which lead you want from the machine, plugging that lead in, and then pressing the start button, and you can see the car starts to charge. And then you can walk away and leave it, and once it hits a certain level, it will stop charging, and it will release itself, so that if somebody else comes along whilst you're still plugged in, they can unplug you and carry on with your card, their charge. If you return to your car before the charging's finished, then you just tap your card on the machine and you can release it. So it's really straightforward and really easy. Now for me, it's just a case of deciding whether my usage warrants £7.35 a month. I certainly use it. I certainly use it at least once a week, sometimes more, and it generally helps me out with like a shift changeover at work. So my work car park isn't free when I arrive. After about an hour, it frees up, and then I can move my car into there. If I wanted to park in the car park I park in, that normally costs me £2 for that hour. So you can see straight away there's a £2 saving every week, every day of the week that I park there, and that certainly that starts to add up. So just looking at last month's usage, just on parking alone, I saved £10. When you put that on top of the slight saving I get from getting electricity from there rather than home, for me, I think it is worth it. and I am going to keep it for the time being, and I'll probably review it in about 6 months time and see how much I've used and whether it's worthwhile. But yeah, so I'm going to keep it for now. Hopefully we'll see, I might get a nice little bonus of to borrow a car, whether it's a Tesla or an i8, and certainly if I do, we'll do a video on that. But hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into public chargers, the different ways that you can access them, and giving you the confidence that it is quite easy to use them. If you've got any questions, please ask them below, and if there's anything specific, then obviously we'll make a further video and I'll show you how it all works lifetime. But thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.